It's Thanksgiving, and what's something you only see once a year? And no, it's not your out-of-state cousins. It's a carving fork, so let's make one. So I have that fuller that I broke the other day that is cracked right here in the front. So I'm going to cut off the piece that's broken, so it's probably going to be like right in here somewhere. But for the fork itself, I'm thinking about probably 4 inches, and then probably go about an inch or an inch and a half for the in between the handle, and then the rest of this can be tapered down into a tang for the handle, which is probably going to be an antler, just because it's going to be better for this, because I don't really want to pin this. First thing I want to do is square the bar off out here at the end. I'm going to guess a 1/2 inch and then use these butcher dies to isolate off a mass. Now I'm going to slowly start drawing this out. I want to set these shoulders a little bit. It didn't really work. I'll have to file it. I was hoping that was going to push them shoulders up, but all it did was kind of mar it up a little bit. I lied. Attempt number 2 with some vise inserts I just made. I'm going to try this again. There, that's a lot better. I can work with that. Okay, I'm going to run roughly probably 3.5. It's close. All right, I need to start bringing this down to a point, so okay, I'm going to flatten all this stock off, but I'm going to continue the taper and then start flattening off. All right, so far I have the fork itself forged out, which is sitting right at, let's see, almost 8 inches, which is perfect. I want to line up this fork cold so I don't screw it up. And I want to punch a hole back here in the back where it recesses into the fork itself. Now I have a cold shut right there I'm going to have to grind out. And for the most part, this is all done up here. I'm just going to file these contours a little bit just so they look nice. And then I will start cutting all of this. So this is the fork so far. I got my tang squared up. Now it's a little bit off center. It's not perfect. That's not a big deal. I'll fix that with a scale that's going to be in it. And I've got this descaled. I used vinegar to break down the scale, and then I hit it with a wire wheel to get it nice and clean. So it's looking real good. Now for the handle that's going to be on here, I would like to use deer antler. And I'm thinking this is a little bit of black walnut that I have laying around. I was thinking about using some of this up here in the beginning and then continuing on with the antler beyond that. And I may separate with a little thin piece of metal, but I'm going to get started on that. I'm going to cut this and also cut the deer antler. I seen the other day that Black Bear Forge had dyed an antler with tea, so I'm going to try it with a little bit of coffee. That was quite a bit. But it's decaf, no one drinks that anyways. So I'm going to let that brew up a little bit, and I'm going to throw that antler in there and see what happens. Okay, so I got my epoxy. Make a mess, like I always do with this stuff. And I already notched the tang of this just so it would take the epoxy a little bit better, or at least hold on to it. So I've got this complete. Now I drilled this in because I was afraid of warping this end too bad whenever I chiseled this. I filed the inside where I had my burr from chiseling this out. The rest of this is mainly forged finished. I got a little bit of filing done in here on the sides of this bolster. I obviously filed the shoulders of the bolster. Now I went with black walnut right here. And the reason that I even put wood in there, period, was to transition this because my bolster is so large and the deer antler I had was not. So I don't want to turn my bolster down to catch the deer antler, so I decided to use a piece in between, which gives it a nice break up in the middle of it. I like it. The deer antler didn't come out as dark as I thought it would, but it still looks nice. It gives it that aged look. It's got a few nicks. This was a brush hog find. But overall, I really like it. Now, I did not pin this. I just epoxied it in there because, I mean, I hope nobody's beating this thing around. But I got my touch mark in the middle. It came out really clean. And I didn't show this whenever I put this little spacer in, but it's just a little flat piece of steel that I had, a little piece of tin. I ground that down and adjusted it to fit in between there. That was a pain, but it looks nice in the end. I'm glad I did it. It gives it a break up in between the wood and the antler. But overall, I think it turned out really nice. Let me know how you think it turned out in the comments, or if there's anything I need to adjust. This is the first time I've ever tried a combination on the handle. I think it turned out pretty nice, but I do appreciate the feedback. And I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. And if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope it's just a good Thursday. But thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.